Welcome to the Hired Not Fired podcast, brought to you by The Real Me, the soft skills first talent solution that helps employers hire entry-level employees with better developed soft skills, such as communication, problem solving, or emotional intelligence. Join us as we sit down with hiring managers, talent leaders, and others and get insider tips to help Gen Z stand out and get hired. Let's dive in. Welcome to this new episode of Hired Not Fired. Today, my special guest is Emily Neuberger of Lockton. Emily is a university relations and campus recruiter at Lockton, based in Kansas City. With over a decade of experience in higher education, including roles in college admissions, student affairs, and career services, Emily brings a deep understanding of student development and career readiness. At Lockton, she manages multiple internship programs and partners with universities and community-based organizations to connect top early career talent with meaningful opportunities, helping Gen Z launch successful careers. Welcome, Emily. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Deb. Excited to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about Lockton. What do you do? And what kind of entry-level positions do you hire for, that sort of thing?
For sure. Yeah. So Lockton is the world's largest privately held commercial insurance brokerage. So essentially, we're helping businesses with their insurance needs. So that could be everything from Fortune 500 companies, professional sports teams, fast food chains. We are working with them as consultants to really help manage their risk. And we also do consulting work on employee benefits as well. So that's very high level what we do. Entry level careers typically include a lot of client facing opportunities, just because we are insurance in general, as a lot of industries are very relational. And so we are looking for new talent who wants to make an impact with their clients, build relationships, and then also has a knack for being able to kind of analyze data and be able to put it into a compelling story, I would say. So a lot of account management, client management are the types of roles that for early careers that we look for.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. And we know that client management involves soft skills, which is something I love talking about. Mm-hmm. What are some of the soft skills that stand out for client relation management that you found?
Yeah, for sure. I think something we preach a lot at Lockton is curiosity. I think because you have to understand your client's business to a point where you're almost like working for them and not for Lockton. You feel just like an extension of their team and a really trusted business partner. If you're not asking the right questions or just don't have that naturally curious disposition, you won't be able to be the best consultant to them. So I think just having, again, that just curiosity piece is huge for us. And the other thing we also preach a lot too is resilience. So we know that everyone's going to make mistakes, right? And we're not so concerned with what the mistake is. It's more about how do you react to it? How do you keep things going, keep it moving, and just, be resilient, should a mistake happen. So yeah, those are, I think, the two kind of big soft skills we look for, outside of being a good communicator, having good time management, hard work. I think everyone preaches that. So I always try to give a couple skills that I think set Lockton apart in this space.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned earlier also storytelling, taking a look at that data and putting it into a story, because that's how our brain works.
Yeah.
What you say, you're one of the largest commercial insurance companies. Yeah. What's it like working in that industry?
Yeah, I think the great thing about this industry, and I think a lot of early career talent, they don't typically think like, oh, insurance is a career that I want to pursue. Typically, a lot of people that I meet on a regular basis kind of like fall into it, if you will, in a good way, though. I think the great thing about this industry, or the insurance industry in general, is it's super stable, right? Like you need it, and companies need insurance in good times and in bad, and you need an expert there to help guide you through all the nuances and the changes and things like that, that the industry is just constantly evolving, right?
It does get
Um,
complicated, right, with
yeah.
compliance and everything?
100%. And just all the state, federal regulations. If, we're working with a global company, then you also have to keep in mind other countries, what their rules and laws are and stuff like that. So, and it's constantly changing. So I think though, in insurance in general, being a broker is just one part of that industry. There's so many other things that you can go into. You could go on the carrier side. Be an underwriter, an actuary. I think broker, obviously I'm biased working for a broker, but I think that why it's attractive is because you do get a good balance of that people facing interaction, but still working in doing some analysis and some modeling and just sort of trying to figure out like what the risk is. And I think students enjoy having that problem solving piece, but then also being able to build relationships too. So yeah, but
Yeah.
super stable. And I know that Gen Z, that's something that's really important to them. So that is really kind of what we preach is that we don't do, fortunately, at least at Lockton, we haven't had to do layoffs, regardless of what the economy is doing. And
Wow.
a lot of that goes back to our private ownership too, which I can dive into, but I don't want to bore bore people
Yeah,
with.
that's great to know. And I love how you talked about how problem solving can play a role in that,
Mhm.
and some people like a good puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
Does that require technical skills? I mean, does a new grad need any particular preparation to be able to do that kind of work?
Not necessarily. I think a lot of it is about attitude and the willingness to learn. And do you have that disposition, like I mentioned, being curious to want to learn the industry and all the lingo and the terminology that goes with it. And, of course, learning different lines of coverage might not be the most like exciting thing to learn, but it does help you then, like you said, solve the problem and be a really good consultant to your clients. But at least at Lockton, we will give you all the technical training you need. So we're really focused on, do you have some of those other characteristics, that good foundation that then you can learn the technical piece from.
Hmm. That
Yeah.
makes sense. So
Mhm.
you mentioned a lot of different tasks, whether it's the broker, the account manager. I'm probably not even going to get it
Yeah,
right,
no, you're
but
good.
so are these different roles that someone needs to choose before they come in, or is it the type of thing where there's a certain one that's best for recent grads? They come in and that, and then they branch out later as they decide, as they see what
Yeah.
they like, what they're a great fit for.
Yeah, I think it depends on the student or the candidate. I have some coworkers who started in underwriting and then wanted to be more, have more people interaction and be more on the broker side. I've also seen a lot of our associates at Lockton move on to work for a carrier, let's say. So it
What
does,
is
I think,
that? What is that like? Sorry.
there's insurance carriers, so they're the ones who are actually like assuming the risk. And so locked in, we're just placing policies from our clients, and just really helping to manage the policy like day to day and
Mm-hmm.
providing a lot of overall strategy to the clients when it comes to their insurance needs. But the carriers are the ones who are actually holding the policy. If there's a claim to be paid out, something like that, that's who then we're working with. And I think on the carrier side, there's probably a lot of negotiating with brokers because that is who's advocating on behalf of the client. So I think it just depends on what someone wants out of their career, and if they're more interested maybe in working for a publicly traded company or a private or a bigger broker, or maybe a smaller one. It really just depends on what I think the candidate's looking for, especially in yeah, commercial insurance space.
That's really helpful for me
Good. Okay, good.
particularly.
Yeah.
So, how do you hire a lot of new grads? Is this a big? Are these Do you have many openings?
Yes. So I would say, I mean, we hire hundreds of people a year, and that's just like in the offices I support. So Lockton is a global company, and we have offices all across the US. So I support about 7 offices throughout the Midwest myself. And we hire, hundreds of people, and the majority of those are early career roles. So Lockton definitely has a big emphasis on that. We do a lot of talent development with new associates and new college grads just to help get them up to speed. Since, like I said, we provide all that technical training, so you don't necessarily need experience in the industry coming in. Obviously, any corporate experience is going to be great to just kind of have a good foundation, but not necessary to be successful at Lockton or to secure a job by any stretch.
That's great. And you have an internship program, right?
Mhm.
And I'm thinking that in the next episode, in part two of our interview with you, we'll dig into that internship
Okay,
program
great.
and hear a little more. But just one preliminary question.
Mm.
If you have this info, what percentage of your new hires are coming from that internship pipeline?
Yeah, so typically about half of our interns do receive a full-time offer. And then I think about 95% of them are accepting. I think it's natural for students who are in their late teens, early 20s to change their mind about what they want to do. A lot of times, the students maybe who don't accept our offer are going on to continue their education. So,
Yeah.
they could maybe come back to us down the line, or they've decided, they want to go into law or just a different field, which is understandable. Our
Mhm.
internship is a career exploration opportunity. And so I feel that anytime we can help a student or an intern figure out what they want to do with their life, that's still a success. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it's about half will receive an offer and our internship, we do look at it as like an 8-week interview. So then at the end of the internship, there is an opportunity for those who are interested and have performed well to interview for a full-time role once they graduate from college. And so it's usually about half of them more than half go through the interview process, and then about half will receive an offer. And then,
Mhm.
like I said, the majority of them, if not all, accept that full-time opportunity. So yeah.
That's great. Emily, thank you. You've given so much. We've learned so much
Oh,
from
good.
you. And listeners, stay tuned to part two so you can learn more about their internship pipeline and what you can do to get an internship at a place like Lockton and how to get the offer at the end of it. So
Yeah.
see you on Thursday.